Okay, so this is the example of in URL, and I want you to see that the snippet that got returned, there was only one result apparently. And here you could see that we have in the URL the word news. Okay. And if we want to expand on it a little bit because it's not complete, I'm going to click on these three dots just to see and match the wordings that are inside of this link. Or better still, let me even go to the link and copy this first of all, and I'm going to lay it down as an outcome of the snippet that brought us to this link. Okay. So this link needs to, I want you to look at where the word news is in the URL part. And you could see, if you read it, you could see that telecom.economictimes.indiatimes.com. This is apparently the long, I don't know why it is like this, but let's suppose that this is a genuine, um, somebody else is here. What's this? Never mind. It is a genuine domain name, but it is a long one, slightly unusual. Anyway, so within this domain, there was a navigation that is pointing to the folder called news. And within the folder news, there is a landing page that's got a structure slightly different. You could see at the very end, it has backslash 514072446. So this is a number, maybe some sort of organization that the page has for this link, but we will focus on the title of this landing page. So the title says data overload could cost whatever is written here. The two of these words, which is data overload, is found, and the year is also found down here. Okay. So we basically wanted the information to come from a news source. Now, if I want the same operation of the search to include the word, let's say blog, instead of news, if I use the word blog, okay, and I use data overload as part of the topic somewhere, let this remain there. Let's see what happens. Now I am asking the search to find the wordings data overload coming from a source that is purely a blog instead of news. Let me try. Hold on, my battery is going. Let me just check what's going on here. Hmm. My battery is running low. For some reason, it wasn't connected to the power. Hang in there. It's just going to come back. Why is this not charging? Okay. Plug is a little bit loose. Sorry. Okay. So what I would do is now try to find it in 2021 because I can't see the. Okay, in 2021, We got two results that had the word data overload in it, but we are trying to find these two words in the title of the page. So let me open the URL, and here again, the link is too long. Mm, Taking a little bit of time loading. Opened up another link. Let me just copy this and let's see the outcome. So this is the link it took me to. I have 2021 here. I have data overload here, and my source is coming as a blog and not as a news. So usually in the typical links that are created, the idea of how the convention works of handling the source of information, it will have the source reflected as a word, being blogs or say news in the link typically. This is how the links are usually formatted. Now, if I want the same information or something that is coming from a forum, I can play with these words again, and I can substitute the word blogs with the forum. Okay. So here, let's say I say forum, and usually the discussion in the forum is not using the word data overload as much. So I'm going to change it. Let's say Microsoft Word, no, Microsoft, or what is it? Windows, let's say Windows 11. And I say I want also an information or a title of the document or title where the discussion is happening in the forum that deals with keywords, keyboard, keyboard problem, 2023. I want the latest information coming from a forum that has got a discussion happening about keyboard problem. We got keyboard fixes. It's a long URL. It's asking for a login. So basically, we look at the URL and we will find in Microsoft forum. This is the forum, Windows related forum discussion about keyboards. This is going to come up. If I want to make it even better, doesn't have a lot of results, but let's say omitted results. So, if any one of you can ask about something that you feel that you need to get from, let's say, any of the sources like articles, forums, technology, anything that comes to your mind that you are keen to find from a specific source, you can give me that and I can run it in the example.
What about a PDF?
Okay. See, when you are asking about PDF, you are talking about file format. Usually the file format, we use file type. So let's suppose that instead of using file type, we use
Um, s-
the Word PDF
okay.
in URL. In URL, PDF. Forget about the year for now. We don't want that constraint. That's the simplest one that I can form. Now let's see what comes out when we just use the word PDF. Sorry. So take this one. In the URL, we found PDF as a word right here. Okay. Now, what is the advantage and disadvantage of something like this? Let me show you what might turn up if you don't use PDF and you use in URL. What could be the comparison, or what would we find as the differentiator between using in URL as a word with the PDF versus file type? So I'm going to copy the same link here. It has taken PDF as a word. Now, what other, and I'm just going to create a URL just to give you an example. I'm going to tell you that you will get, let's say, says PDF document. And let's suppose this is HTML. Okay. Now, if you compare 4.1 with 4.2, you will be able to get not only this link, but you will also, along with this, you will find something like this, which means that the PDF word, it might be part of the document title, or anything that has PDF as three letters or three characters, three alphabets together, it will start to pick on these types of links as well, which you don't need. When you want to be specific that it should be returned from the file type PDF, you have to create your search query using file type colon. But if you use in URL PDF right here, it is just looking for the words or match of the three alphabets, three characters, which is P, D, and F. So if the word P, D, and F is not used as a document, or if it is a PDF that is, written in as part of the title, it'll start to pick a page which is originally HTML, not along with the .pdf, assuming. it will start to pick up both types of links. Okay. But to make the correction, to make it only exclusive with the file type operator, we can restrict the returned URLs to having the origin that is coming from a document which is originally uploaded as a PDF. So if we did file type, it will ensure that it is coming from a source which is PDF. That means 4.1 is what will typically be returned and would exclude 4.2. But if you do it this way, instead of using file type, you used in URL, then you will get both types of return results. So let me just make it into note. So when you're doing with the in URL, you'll get more results returned because it will also bring HTML documents or any other documents that are containing the word PDF in the title, as well uh, as those URLs that are originating or originally PDF documents. So all these type of operators that we are talking about or we discussed, they all have their own sort of utilization, and it should be used at the appropriate place with the knowledge that you have for its use, which is specific and defined. So if we are going to compare in URL with file type, they're different because they are intended to bring certain information from certain type of file. Not that it should be treated as a word; it should rather be treated as the file format. So I wouldn't use in URL if I have to find something coming as a PDF file. So you can look at it again and you can see what I'm talking about. In case if there is still any ambiguity on this, let me know. Just look at 4 versus 5. Now, I also have some variations of how in URL can be used. Mm, Okay, so let me use it as a word. Mm. Let's suppose I create another query, 6. All right. Now the difference between 6 and 7, I would ask if any one of you could tell me the impact of 6 versus 7 on the results. Um, I used minus overload here, and I'm going to create one more versus. Six, never mind six. Let's look at seven and eight. I'd rather do that first. So between seven and eight, what could be the difference in intended search results that you want with the minus sign versus using minus with the in URL? So if we have to make a choice of writing it as seven or eight, what would be the best approach? Or first of all, what is the difference between seven and eight? Apparently, it seems that in the seven uh, query, we are asking the search to eliminate the word overload wherever it may be found, either in the URL or the title or the snippet or rest of the body of text. So just not to include the word overload, use the word data. And in 8, we are saying minus in URL. So specifically asking the search to exclude it from wherever it is found in the URL only, nowhere else. So if we do it like this, we'd probably get more refined results, or not refined, but say less number of results versus what we can get with 8, because it is only restricting the exclusion of the word overload from the links only. So if you want to try it, this is how we can see the results. I don't want let's make it a little bit different so it becomes data table. I'm going to use the words data table, two words together, and where possible, put this within quotation marks. I think this will become a better example. So let's try this one. And I don't want a restrictor of the year right now. Instead of news, let's see if we can get blocks. Now, another thing is that because in URL is very particular about singular and plurals, and sometimes the way they write or structure the URLs, they might use blog as a word or blogs with an S as a plural. So we don't know. In that case, what we should do is put an or command to give it an option so we don't miss out on the word that is in plural. So I'll write the another instance of blog with the S in it, which is the plural format, and still it would do fine. Now we have given it a better option. Data table overload. Okay. I'll start looking at so here we have the word blog. Here we have the word blogs. If I only use blog and not blogs, then I won't be able to get this result. Okay, so this is another way of how you can structure this slightly better. I'm going to copy this, and before I forget, let's just put this back in the notepad. So this versus this, but in your, okay. So now these are the two queries we are dealing with. So the one we got returned, as you could see, right here. All of these are coming from blogs as a source. If I click on it, you will see that these are blogs. Let's take anyone, take this link. You will find that this is actually a blog format, data by John. And the title of the page or subject of the matter is contains the word data in it, data table in it. The date is here, but we don't know what the date was. So we just left it not as a restrictor, but opened it without using in URL with the date in it. So that's the result we got. And I think that is quite successful. And the word used is blog instead of blogs. So let's suppose where do I have blogs? There is a plural. What was the sequence of that blogs? SAP. This result would have been ignored if I didn't use the or with the blog and an S. Let's try that and see if we get the return result that excludes the plural form of blogs. It was second, third. Now you will see the word blog is totally eliminated, and the return results that we got earlier with the plurality with the OR option, we did find SAP, a snippet that had the word with the plural of blog as blogs, and now I don't see it anymore. So it ignored it. This is what we don't want, you know, because we never know what kind of, you know, it's singular. People use it in different ways. Some people write news, uh, not the news is not a good example. Anything that has a plural in it, forums versus forum, so that kind of situation. I'd be very specific and very careful about writing or declaring the property value or anything that I declared after the colon sign in case I have to use in URL. The slightest mistake will not bring the results. It has to be, you have to be familiar with the type or the structure of the URL. Usually, if I have to go to a specific site, let's say, which is too large for me to navigate from one button to another and then get to the that page, it's a lengthier process. So I would first of all go to the site and look at the structure of the URLs to see what type of information typically is embedded in it. And I can easily look at it from the examples or some of the pages that gives me an idea, say how the dates are structured, how singularity or plurality of the word blog, for instance, is stated in the structure. So once I get that, then I will be able to navigate quickly by just using in URL for getting to those pages within that, the large website. So it's much easier and quicker for me to get to the information without any error. Like in LinkedIn, for example, let me, first of all, when you are querying something within the social media and you're using in URL, then here are a few things you could do. First of all, should log into your account with these websites. So let me log into the LinkedIn first. And once I've logged in, it'll be easier for me to um, navigate through whatever is publicly available, but it has to flow through my registered account with those websites, even accounts like Instagram, Facebook, Twitters, you name it. All of these would expect that you would be logged in earlier before you start to look for those pages. So I think I'm just going to give you a little bit of an example of how to search the social media using in URLs. Let's just take a 10 minutes break right now, and then I will continue with the examples with LinkedIn, perhaps Facebook, and let's explore some more uh, options within URL and within social media. So I will return in 10, 15, 10 minutes. See you then. Just shutting my video and my mic. And you can always talk with each other. That option is always open in case you want to discuss anything between yourselves. Just have to turn the mic on and you'd be able to talk to each other. I'm I'm going to shut it now. I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, I'm back and we can start. You could see my screen. It's clear on your side and you can hear me all right, eh?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Now, I just logged into my LinkedIn account and I'm going to, let's suppose I need to find something like jobs, for example. And it is a very large sort of website. So instead of navigating through all the hoops, I would say I would just click on, say, jobs here to get to know if the word jobs is used in the link as a singular word or a plural. So here I see job with an S, so it is in plural. And that's all the information I would like to get, first of all. And then I will create a query to find the jobs in the LinkedIn account. So I will then construct the query as I'm writing right now. Let's suppose now I'm going to start to use the other operators that you've learned already, like in text is the one that I'm going to be using. So let's suppose in the LinkedIn, in URL, I wrote linkedin.com, or I could just simply write LinkedIn. I would still do the job, but this would make it even more specific. So the linkedin.com is what I wrote. I need in the URL the word jobs so that it is leading the page to the section of those of the website that deals with jobs. Then in the text, in text, meaning that on the page that shows up, I want the word remote or the word freelance. Okay. I had put in OR in between so that it would look for both the word remote, either the word remote or the word freelance. Then I started with the word copy editor as something to be found anywhere on the page. And editor I put within quotation marks so that if I didn't do this, then the word freelance might connect directly with the freelance copy editor, which is not exactly what I intend. I used freelance to be working alongside in text as an option. So this is basically how I would separate the two actions in the same query. So now this is separated. I'm not using parentheses because you have to put it in your search because these are not recognized, but just for explaining purposes. So we've got one segment here. We've got another segment here, which is competing words. And then the word Florida, which is, put within quotation marks as a separate word that is enforced. The word copy editor that I put within quotation mark is not for forcing something to be found, but it is used so that it is separating the two segments. Let's call it, we can just call it segment A and B. A and B. Okay. So Why I'm letting you use the copy editor within quotation marks is again is just to simulate as if copy editor is separate and whatever follows with the or operator, it is competing other words. This is the only reason. Now let me try to run it in the search. I have to lose these. I'm just going to copy and paste it. 518 copy editing jobs in Florida. And if I look at the URL, this is the URL. The word jobs, copy editing because it was found on the in text on the page and Florida. Hmm. And if I go back to the return results, I can see that it is doing a good job. It is finding me copy editing jobs in LinkedIn. And because I'm logged in, it is letting me look at the URLs, the page itself. So we've got copywriter, copy editing, managing editor. All of these words will start to show up. All these are going to show up. Now, supposing I take and I use site operator, it will do exactly the same thing. Later, we will look at the differentiator or what could be different between 9 and 10 when I replace in URL with site colon. That we have not come to yet because we haven't finished the site operator. So, but the number of results will be different. When we ran this one, we got 30 results. If I run it with the site operator, let's see where it's probably going to be 31,600 results. All defaulting to linkedin.com. But the number of results are 31,600. So keep that in mind. And then when we finish up with site operator, we'll get back to why the number of results are different. Okay. And remind me if I don't bring this back for this example in the class, let me just remind me. So I pointed that out for you. Now, I want to do the site operator quickly so we can do even better examples. Um, where do I have the site? Even before I do that, I want one more thing to be discussed as well, and that is to do with finding the job opportunities in LinkedIn, but not from US, let's say from UK. So taking the same example, not this one, this one. course, I have to get rid of the word Florida here. And in LinkedIn, I'm not going to use .com. I'll just use the word LinkedIn, and then I will create another instance of an URL. And knowing that if the if the social media site is actually to point to the LinkedIn from UK, I know that the abbreviation of the country will be part of the link. So I put in URL UK here. Now let's see if I can get the results coming from UK only. Okay. It is coming from uk.linkedin.com. So the partial or the abbreviation UK has made it into the URL as a subdomain of main LinkedIn, but it is originating from or is coming from the UK LinkedIn site. And if I click on it, surely it is going to be from UK. So this is another advantage of using in URL, because it will know where you want the information coming from based on the geographic location. So let's assume that there is also a LinkedIn from India that probably have the same sort of schema in the link. I might just then try to replace UK with the abbreviation IN. Let's see what happens then. Now, LinkedIn India, LinkedIn India, LinkedIn India. It's all coming from India. So this is, more of another type of advantage of using in URL. Sometimes we also want to include the language, like in what language you want the results to be returned. So for that reason, there is a list somewhere here. mm, that gives the abbreviations of countries and language. So to see that list, I would ask you to, I'll point you um, to a page somewhere here. Where is the date and timestamp? It's coming. Here it is. On page 237, you will find a list of country codes and the language codes that are used in writing the URLs. For example, like this one, you could see that it has used EN. HL is a notation that is used to declare the language and the country. So HL is equal to EN is for English, GB is for Great Britain, TR is for Turkey, and sometimes the codes for language and the country are the same, like TR-TR is for Turkey, Turkish, ZH and CN. ZH is the language, which is Chinese Mandarin, and CN is for China. So you'll get the results from China. You may want to look at these right here. These are the language codes, and this is the country codes. Usually in the links which you are seeing as an exhibit 1 through 4, this is how the URLs are usually, that's how it's laid out, language and the country code. So let me just close these right here. So let's deal with the site operator now. I think I will use the book for the site operation of this. Hmm. By the way, social media account search, you can practice with these examples on page 170 if you want to mark it. Um, I'm sorry, I apologize. This is for site operators. Um, okay. I think I'll use the book for these. I don't have as many variations of using site on the PowerPoint. So let me just use this instead. When we are using the site colon, we have to declare the entire domain, which means that it has to have extension like .org. Second of all, the site operator only will accept a complete domain name. Like it wouldn't deal with aofirs.org as a word that takes in or absorbs any kind of just text. It will have to be a domain name. So if you don't put .org or .com for the website, it's not going to take it. So that is the first thing. Second thing is that the site operator can also function with the minus sign. That means if you don't want certain results coming from a specific website, it would just eliminate that and exclude it if you just put the minus sign here. And if you don't put the operator with the minus sign like site colon and just use minus sign, you know the effect. It is just not specific to the domain, but rather anything that has the wording of aofirs.org will be eliminated. Example 3 is in front of you. It's saying that bring me results from pinterest.com only. When you declare one instance of a site operator, you're asking it to only bring results from this and nowhere else. So when you look at the links with the return snippet results and you read the URLs, all of them would have a domain name, pinterest.com, and nowhere else. It's bringing the pages. Um, with the minus site aofirs.org, it is also ensuring not to bring anything from AOFIRS. In the exam, it is a trick question. What happens is that when you use the Pinterest.com as the certainty of returning from this domain, you don't need to put minus site AOFIRS because it is not going to come anyways, since you have asked it to only be brought from Pinterest.com. Okay. Now, what happens if you want results to come from two domains only, or maybe three domains, or even more domains, and exclusively from these domains, and you don't want anything coming from any domain other than Pinterest or aofirs.org? Would this work, you think? You may be able to ask the search to return results from multiple domains, but you cannot write the query this way. Why? Because cite is an absolute command. It does not coexist with the second instance of the site when you write it this way. The only way that it is going to respond with the option of multiple websites as the origin or of those coming from these domains is by using the OR command. That means after Pinterest.com, let me just try to run it first. Let's see what happens. Zero results. Yeah, this is an ad and it's zero results literally. Now, suppose I say to bring the results with CRS certification from these two domains only. Perhaps it'll work if I use the OR command. So what OR does is that it is looking at these documents coming from either Pinterest.com or AOFIRS.org, but there is no fixed um, sequence in which you will find both of these domains showing up in your results. Like first three results may be from Pinterest, rest maybe the fifth and the sixth one are from aofirs.org, and then another one coming from Pinterest. So there is only the ranking theorem or the ranking algorithm that would be responsible for bringing the options as priority one against priority two or priority three. And priority one being X, priority two may be Y. And that sort of is the only behavior that we cannot control. But at least we know that it is not going to ignore results coming from both of these websites. So these are the inclusions, basically Pinterest and AOFIRS. So to make it work, I'd probably find more of aofirs.org. So aofirs.org, aofirs.org, and if there is Pinterest that is given any ranking priority, we should find it in the first few pages. If not, it'll still show up, but maybe down the line somewhere. Here it is, Pinterest. Okay. And then comes AOFIRS again, and then Pinterest. But the good thing is it's not ignoring both Pinterest and AOFIRS and also ensuring results are restricted to only these two domains. Then the other thing about AOFIRS. Okay. So now, supposing I want my results containing words that are not specific to a certain domain, but um, they could be coming from, say, .orgs or, say, organizational domains or educational related or EDU related or any of those that you don't want to be very specific about, but generally that's where you want the origin of the information to be attached to those more authentic domains. So if I say, let's just uh, let's just create another example. Going to first of all, let me just copy and paste this one so it is there in the record. And okay, now Another set of examples. I think I'll pull it from here. In fact, let me copy all of these. We'll try to do some of these, uh, let the numbers be as they are. Now, if I want to look for the source coming from domains like, say, .org, .edu, and .gov, this is how I'm going to write the search query. And the word I'm looking for is search engine in the document, except that I don't want any results coming from Wikipedia or anything that has the word Wikipedia in its link. I don't want any of that. So I'm going to copy this and run it. Notice how I have used an asterisk followed by .org, asterisk .edu, asterisk .gov. What asterisk is, obviously it is saying that use any domain name, and it works as a better restrictor. Even if I did .org, it would still deliver, but with the asterisk, it has a tendency to be more filtered for unknown reasons, or you could say based on uh, some um, some of the coding that they have done in the search engine. This gives us slightly better results if we put the asterisk, even though it's not needed. But once we remove the asterisk, somehow with the .org, with the .edu, all of these would work. There won't be any problem using the site operator, except that I'll get a lot many results, and it may not be as uh, as accurate. There could be a little bit of a problem somewhere. So to as a practice, this is how I would write it. And I'm sharing this with you without giving you any logic, is because we don't know why it does that. So as a practice, this could be a better approach, and that's the best way to explain it. But I want to run this right now. I don't have to use minus in URL. Let's just make it simpler and see what happens. Now, I got 33 million, a lot of results here. No wonder why I put the minus sign with the Wikipedia here. If I put minus in URL, you know why this result is showing up from Wikipedia, even though it is not it's because it is .org site. And we don't want to include the Wikipedia results, even though it is .org. So that is why I guess we used minus in URL wikipedia.org. So now I'm getting results that exclude the Wikipedia, but all of these are, say, .orgs. There would be .edus as well. And the third one, there is the .edu. And if there is any .gov, that would show up also. This one is from the government site .gov. And what happens if I lose the asterisk here? Let me just look at the number of results, 38,800,000. But it's one dot, okay. 42,600,000, slightly more. So if you put asterisk, you get a little bit less. If you lose asterisk, you'll get slightly more results. Um, and in the third instance, even if you get rid of the dots, still you will get, but then there is a problem. If you lose the dots, then it is also going to include the site that contains three letters edu or could be part of the domain, but not necessarily an extension of the domain. So if you don't put a dot, it might be a little tricky. So you have to use the dots here. Okay. So that the search knows that you are talking about the domains that has an extension .gov, .edus, and .orgs. Even though it is going to find the domains that contain the word gov, .edu, or org, but it would be will also include the results that you don't need, which means that it will not be, I mean, it would be something that is in the domain name as partial words or the three letters, making it in the domain name, but it may not be, you know, the extension of a genuine domain itself. So domain to be recognized in a better way, you have to put the dots before you put .gov, .edu, and .org. Okay. And let me look at some of the variations of how we can utilize it. Okay. Now, even if you have to use, this is just giving examples. If you want me to mark the page numbers, it's page 168. If you look at what is explained in this example, for instance, it is saying that you can even write site with a domain that has extension or has extended to the part of the entire domain or something which defaults to the business section of cnn.com. So even this is considered a domain or perfectly functional way of expressing what page to be included or what could be the subsection of the main domain. It is also considered as an extension of a domain. So it's not only going to recognize the domain name, but the section of the domain where it's taking you to. However, if CNN did not have the .com as an extension, it would not work. Like you cannot put something that excludes the domain name, or if domain name is not expressed as part of the partial um, link that you have placed here, it will not, it's not going to function. So these are just variations of some of the ways that you can use the site operator. And I can only cover as many as I get to see at a quick glance. If you want to look for something in social media sites, there is a lot of examples in this section, which is page 170. So feel free to look it up and practice with these examples. And if I don't see anything very specific, okay, here, differentiator between using the site versus the in URL. Okay. So let's look at the return number of results. So anyway, I would rather create something fresh, which is now going to compare the in URL with the site operator, which is where we were uh, with when we were doing, where was it? This one, 10 and 11. Okay. Um,
Actually, it's 9 and 10, I think.
9 and 10.
It has the word Florida in both.
Hmm. Okay, let's run this one, for example, to start with. So we're going to use the site operator. And here I'm just going to count number of results is 31,600 and take the same query and use it with the URL in URL. And because I don't have to put .com, just need the word LinkedIn, I'll get rid of .com. Oh, it is not complete. Okay, so now we are going to make a comparison. Take this one here. Bring this one here. $31,600 and here I got 42,600 results. So why is that? Now and you can see the priority of how results are. Is this the same one? No, there, yeah, this is using no. Wait a second. What's going on here? Did I not make it in URL? Or maybe I'm playing with the wrong one. The heck? In URL, this was the one, and this was okay. I got to go back to the blackboard. Let me just do it again. I've got too many tabs open, and that's why I'm having problem. I just don't want anything extra. And I'm going to put this one here. So it is site LinkedIn. I got 31,600. Take the next one. Is this any different? Oh, of course it is different. You're right, Majdi. You're always right.
Oh,
And I'm seldom wrong. So that sort of balances it out. I got only 30 results when I used in URL. Oh, in URL, I should get rid of .com. That's what I wanted to do. Now see, 33 results only. So see the difference? In this one, I've used in URL. Here I've used site LinkedIn.com. So even though the word LinkedIn is there, but whenever we are restricting our search to be coming from a certain domain name, make sure that you use site operator and don't use in URL as a word, because in URL is only going to see it as a word, which is a mention of the word anywhere in the domain name. And it could even be a problem in recognizing whether it is coming from the original website or it is a word that is used or mentioned on a link which may not be originating from that website but may exist on some other pages or third party vendor that may have a link that is pointing to their website. So even those would be included. So it is not the best thing. For example, if I want to say, look at the difference in terms of what gets recognized when you use 9 versus 10, I'll separate the 11 totally. Now in 9, let's suppose that this was the link that revealed, okay? But it may also bring results that are coming from, let's say, sites that are pointing or having this link somewhere on the, say, and I'm talking about in URL only. Let's say if it was AOFIRS website, and on our website we have a link pointing to LinkedIn. I may have this link in, say, articles section somewhere, and the article is on, make it simpler. So I've got two of these links that will be scooped or will be brought. Again, let me make another correction here. So this is how it's written, and the query is correct. There's nothing wrong with the query, except that the return results would bring this link, which is actually originating from LinkedIn.com, and it has the word LinkedIn in it. And it will also ignore the domain aofirs.org, and it would just look for the word LinkedIn. So this means that the in URL is actually, instead of just defaulting to or looking for the origin as aofirs.org, it would uh, ignore the domain part as a mandatory origin or a mandatory connection to that page. It would look at the word linkedin.com that is mentioned somewhere on the aofirs.org in the article section. So this is not, shouldn't be, could be relevant. It just depends. If you are looking for all the links that contain the word LinkedIn, then you would also be getting the link that you don't need. Okay, don't need, if you don't need this, then, but still returns this page. So basically, it will be directing the snippet, or the snippet mention would be actually not coming from the linkedin.com, but from aofirs.org. Yet and it is brought to the results because of the presence of the word LinkedIn, which is what you don't need, really. So if your intention is to not only just bring the results from this one, but also include all the links that are floating around somewhere on other pages which is pointing to your LinkedIn site, but the origin of that or the domain may be different, then you can use in URL. If you ask me if I want something that is specific to the domain, I would just use site colon so that my results will only contain uh, the snippets coming from this type of URL, this URL rather. This or similar URLs. Okay. So the result over here includes other domains and results exclusive to linked in domain. So this is the difference between 9 and 10. I hope I'm able to um, give you the difference in using in URL versus site colon. Let me know if there is any confusion. No questions on this? Okay. So Majdi, you get this? No
Yeah,
problem?
yeah, I'm just looking at, you wrote that results exclusive to LinkedIn domain.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, because you use site colon here and you use the full domain name linkedin.com. So your results would include everything that is connected to directly connected to linkedin.com domain.
So
But when you
it's inclusive to the LinkedIn domain, I believe. So,
it is
yeah,
inclusive, sorry.
yeah, it does include the LinkedIn domain when you put the site colon linkedin.com, because
Yeah, when you
it's,
do this, it
yeah,
excludes this one. This will be
yeah,
excluded.
yeah. So that's what you mean by LinkedIn domain. Hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Because I noticed that with the in URL, it ignores most of the LinkedIn website, the main website. It just shows the the referral sites to LinkedIn, not the main website.
Right.
Yeah, if it does.
Now, these are the technicalities, sometimes you sort of, I mean, mostly why this knowledge would be important is that by design or by intent, I would rather be using in URL instead of site colon. And this is based on if you are looking for who is plagiarizing or copying your domains or using something, it just depends on what your objective of the search is. If it is to find the links that are floating around on third party platform or pointing to my site, I would use in URL to exclusively go for them and not include links coming directly from my website because that's not my objective. My objective is to find who is using or who is pointing to my pages. Then I'm going to use in URL.
Yeah, thanks.
And 94 days. I just have to save it on your in your notes. I sometimes forget it. That's why I don't want to leave it. 11, 17 here. Okay, so we're done with this part. Now I want to do an exercise here, and I would ask you to participate in it. Let's suppose I want to look for something in the news section. Mm, what is the hot topic here? Um, Biden, Biden. Student loan forgiveness. Okay, this looks good. So let's use these three words and try to find a news on this. So let's suppose that this is the news we are looking for, and I'm going to pick any of these links to the news. Let's say this one, and it's a simple one. Now, supposing if I give you this link, can you go back and find this section or this particular news by Googling with the with the query that you will make. Let me, where is it? It's my chat box. So in the chat box, I'm giving you this link, and I want you to be able to find exactly this news story from whatever information is provided in this link. So if you can just copy this link and create a query that I would expect would work for it to bring this piece of information, or this snippet is what I would want you to get to directly. How would you be able to do that? So can you make a search query on your own? If any one of you can get to this piece of story or this news, let me know. If not, it's okay. I just give you maybe say 5 minutes or so, or whatever time you want is okay. Please copy and see if you can get to this news story possible. In fact, cancel this order for now. Let me give you another one. Okay. I think this one is more interesting. So the previous one, cancel it. Take this one. This is a story in USA Today. So what I'd like is to go to USA Today story, this one right here. See what you can do. I'll give you 5 minutes. I'll come back then. Just
All right.
feel comfortable and do your best. It's not a test. It's just an exercise. And if you can't, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's nothing, like nobody is challenging anything. So I'll then help you out with this.
All right.
Got it?
Well, I could go first.
Okay. Let me see.
So,
Where is? Yeah. This
you
one.
want me to just tell you, or you want me to put what I put in the search
No,
in the
no.
chat box?
Yeah, just please put it in the chat box. It'll be easier to share with others. Yeah. You just
Okay.
copy and paste it in the chat box.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Give me a minute here because I have to take you out of full
Okay.
screen.
Right, right. It's
And
okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. Here it is. Here, give me a second here. Now, I did you want us to use any particular operators or
No, no,
you
use
just
whatever
okay?
you can, but you don't forget it will definitely not exclude in URL and I mean you have to use in URL operator. That's for sure.
Right. Okay.
Hmm.
So there it is right there.
Hmm. Okay. I get there. So let's see if it is bringing the results or not. This is what Majdi wrote. So let me try this. Good enough. At least one result is correct out of these two. This is where we wanted to go to. I believe so. I guess that's the one. Is this the one?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I think yours,
A new
your
era in
title,
healthcare.
I think your title included 39 billion. I didn't get to pull that up, but
Was this the result? This was the one. Go back to it again.
yeah, that's
This
it.
is the page. Majdi, the page I got is actually from USA Today. Let me see if it is the same one. Doesn't look the same though. Why is it not the same?
Should be, but
This is the one. Title seems to be the same, but the page looks a little different. Let me see what's going on. So if I go to this one, this is how it looks, right? And this is exactly where I wanted you to get to, which is, the clickable link right here. This was the story, wasn't it? Biden's plan B gets more detailed.
Yeah, yes.
So the one that I got from Majdi, when I ran his thing over here, I see a page which I'm loading it. Okay, so this is correct also. I don't know why I made a mistake. So correct from Majdi. Now I'm going to copy and paste link that Anthony gave me. So take this. First of all, Anthony, I just want to point out that after the colon sign, don't leave a gap, uh, even a single character. So I'll just make that correction here.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing is that if you're sure of this four words together as being exactly as they appear in the story, then better idea is to put it within quotation marks.
Okay.
Okay. So that's another one. Let's look at the over here again. I'm just going to remove this gap. Now it should be all right. Perhaps better still to put is USA Today. Okay, in URL, if you're using it as two words, let me just leave it open. Let's just run it how it would look if with few corrections. And Okay. So there was an error in this. Let's say I even get rid of these quotation marks. Now I'll try again. Still no results, and I'll tell you what's going on. So, Majdi, congratulations. You did all right. It landed on two options. One was this one down here, and the other one was this one. But if you want to be absolutely accurate, where only one result shows up, that would be the skill that you need to achieve. So that the next version of this, which is another snippet, should not be competing because you have full information about the page based on the URL I gave you. Okay, so have to be, if you are just going to look at the result, just one result, which is refined, and because you have a lot of information in that link, that would be the target, but it's still very good. Now, um, this one is not bringing any results.
Really?
Let's try to make a correction. Yeah, I just put it like this.
Yeah, let me pull up my website. I use
Sure,
Google, and let me see
sure.
what I actually used.
Mhm.
Wow. So I was able to pull up the results, but I had spaces. I'm going to take the spaces out
Yes.
and search again. Oh, nothing. I didn't get anything
Mm.
when I took the
So,
spaces out.
okay.
Interesting.
So, yeah. Um, anyway, let's just put yours here.
So
And
with the spaces in there, I got the results.
that's because it ignored the in URL command. In URL
Oh,
command was like, you're shooting the blanks, nothing comes out, but
right.
it makes the noise. Yeah.
Okay.
So, um,
Interesting.
so that you can correct that. But let's look at how I would do it. Now let's just let this be C.
Okay.
I mean, if you have the URL open, you can actually do go exactly to that specific page. I can even write it like this. It will save me time, effort. Literally copied the whole thing. Can even put, I've got the whole 9 yards covered because it's like an open book to me. So I can go to, so that's why I thought it would be easy if you can utilize or leverage or every bit of information because it is given to you. So if I want to run the query like this, let's see if I can get just one isolated result that I need. It's correct, correct. Okay.
Wow.
I mean, it's like the whole DNA of that is revealed to you. All you have to do is just use in URL multiple instances. You can just create the more accurate query because you have all the wordings that are included in the URL part. So let's see some other magic we can do with it. We can even do see the magic of it in URL. I don't even need any of this. All I do is I have to get rid of the dashes though. Just remember that.
It won't work with the dashes.
No, it will work with dashes, but I just want to break this into, I just want to show like title separate and everything else separate. So I'm just doing it like this so that you understand that the title is best written this way. Same thing. Now, you want me to use the dashes? Okay, let's try it with the dashes. Dashes is not a good idea because sometimes you end up leaving a space and that becomes a minus sign. I never use dashes. If I use dashes, then I don't have to use quotation marks. So this is the entire URL. I think this is where this connects. So let me just copy this. Now see what happens with dashes. I'll let you discover it. Dashes means that it is one single search term. Just remember this technicality. This is one search term. Okay. I think I have taught this earlier when we were starting with basic operator. This is one search term. These are when you're going to use, because nobody remembers in the real world, nobody remembers the entire URL. So the reality is you would either remember the entire title or maybe few words in the title. And if you're going to play with the dashes, then the outcome would be that this will be, if you're going to use it and in URL dash 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 dash, it's, you can only do it when you are connected with the entire, when you connect it with the entire URL like this way. Okay, it has to be connected with the last backslash after 30. Okay, the number 30 here, it has to be connected this way for you to use it as it is shown here as one single search term. If you're going to use it separately with in URL by breaking this into two parts, let's suppose if this was the case, you can use it like this. Okay. But you can also use it like this as well, because both will be one search terms. Okay. And if you're going to use it without dashes as a title, as you write in English, with the, with dashes excluded in this, then this will become 7 search terms. Meaning that if I wrote, it like this, then what will happen is that the search will definitely look for the word student or student loan and might just drop other words that are subsequently or are following this as a one single title of the story or the news. So if we go like this without quotations or without dashes, then the search will look for student as a word for sure, as a single searchable keyword, or it may just connect student with loan as two words together, and may just let go or drop the word forgiveness or Biden or plan B or update, because these are not enforced. Okay. And what is enforced is the first word that is hugging the colon sign. So that's why we use quotation marks. And that is why we make it, if we are sure that this statement is the exact title, then I would rather put it within quotation marks to make it work, ensuring all of these words are included in the URL. So just be mindful of these basic rules, and it's more based on logic. We know the fundamentals of how the advanced operators treat the wordings that follow after the colon signs. Yeah. So anyway, this was important information. I'm glad that you attempted to go and apply your. Oh, one thing. Now, just want to make some more corrections here. So let's suppose you use the word Biden student loan forgiveness. Let's match it with what we have in the title, student loan forgiveness, Biden student loan forgiveness. Okay. If you're going to do a search like this without knowing exactly how the title of the document is phrased or is placed in the URL, you will not be able to get results from this operator because it's very particular about how the statement is written. So instead of right, because Biden's is not the word that you could see in the URL. Where does it say Biden's? Does it say Biden's here? No. If it doesn't say Biden in this original URL and it is only Biden, then you could just write Biden because it is, like I said, singular or plural is important. And you know the word student loan, but you don't know if it is a statement that is actually following the sequence of how the words are phrased or put together. So if the word Biden here is part of the title, you can safely put the word Biden after in URL. So this is one of the wordings. Then you wrote student loan. So you know that the word Biden does not come before student loan. In fact, it is first, second, third, fourth word. And in that case, you would separate the word Biden to be found as part of the length of the URL. But the word student loan, because you know the student loan together and the word forgiveness are together, then I would put it within quotation like this, making sure the spelling is correct. And these three words together are written in the sequence as you can see, which is what you are indicating by putting student loan forgiveness within quotation marks to keep the sequence of those words intact, to be followed or to be included in the URL as well. So now we have covered the word Biden and we have covered these three words, but separated them as two instances of in URL, um, indicating that these words are there, but you don't quite remember where the word Biden was placed. Was it after this statement or before? So the best thing is that you only attempt to find the word Biden somewhere, and what you remember as a sequence of words that make it into a phrase that can be matched exactly, you would put it, um, ensure its sequence or ensure it's being a phrase by putting it within the quotation marks. Okay. So now I can see that it is shaping up better. USA Today you can put within quotes, but you have made a mistake here. So I'm going to correct that. The mistake is that you have separated USA and Today. So this will not bring the good results. You have to make it appear exactly as it is written as a domain. Domain has to be matching exactly. Otherwise, separating these two will think of it as two keywords and not as the two words together, which is what is showing in the URL. You have to match it what's in the URL. So now the query is shaping up better. I am quite sure
Forgiveness,
that
forgiveness needs one more S.
that's correct. Thank you. So now you know. So do you want me? Let's try it. Okay.
Yeah, let's try it.
Okay. So it's there,
Okay.
and I believe this was the one. Okay. This came in as priority, but because we did not put the date, So number of words that you have used, like student loan forgiveness and the word Biden, may also appear in other links that are coming with the domain USA Today or wherever USA Today is used, linked to three words, student loan forgiveness and the word Biden, that may be repeated in other statements or other part of the stories that are coming through news. And so there could be a multiple use of these words in other snippets that gets returned. That's why you're getting 6 results instead of 1. If we had put a date or as much of a context that you can add to make it more precise, the better it is. But usually we are not all that precise. If we knew if we had enough precision in knowing exactly how they're worded or how they are placed in sequence, we just get to the exact results. But this is the reality of how we find the information in the real world. We don't know the entire URL. We remember partial wordings, and we remember that it has to do with who the primary word, like Biden, it has a relationship with Biden. That's all we know. And we know that it was published in USA Today. And so were there other stories that included these wordings. So from the choice that we get, which is 6 of these results, make it precise enough, or it has given a filtered results from which we can choose exactly the one that we were missing. So all is good. I think that's how we're going to approach not only just in URL, but any type of advanced operators we are going to apply. The gaps are the fundamental. You don't leave gaps. Quotation marks, we have discussed it quite a bit. So that kind of skill that you need to know before we could do complex search queries. So, the structuring of the query is important. Use of quotation marks is important. And where we are applying in title and in text and whatever that has to do with snippets, even file type and all of those that we have discussed at length has these fundamental rules, and that we cannot forget. If we don't if we can do a bit of a revision, because you have the recording, plus um, you can see in the videos, which is easier. I think it's more visual and you could see the queries. Just see how they are formatted and just remember and put that in your mind, that that's how we have no gaps here, one space here, using quotation marks where you have. So just question that and then answer it for yourself. That's where you would gain that confidence to write the queries. I mean, you can write incorrect queries, that is all right, but writing it incorrectly in the format, as far as format is concerned, that would be painful for, um, you know, for making your well structured queries, but with little bit of errors, it would just result in null or zero results. Anyway, I leave you with this information today and conclude our session. And of course, the weekend is starting, so hope you have good plans and enjoy your weekend. And if possible, please do any kind of revision or spend maybe 2 hours at the tops between 2 days. That should really be helpful when we start on Monday. I'm planning to do some complex searches. I'm going to have to rely on your fundamentals or the knowledge concepts that we did in the first 3 lectures when we started module 2. So that would be helpful. So enjoy your weekend, have fun,
Thank
take
you.
care, and I'll see you on Monday.
All
See
right.
you then.
Thank you. Have a great
Thank
weekend.
you very much. You too. Take care. Bye bye, everyone.
Take care.
Take care.